TinkerCAD tips, welcome back. This is Twisty Fidget Part 2. In the prior tutorial, Part 1, we had made these shapes using a cube actually and some wave duplication. We've grouped these together and we've saved them over here under Your Creations. You click up here and I have them saved here as Twisty Solid and Twisty Hole. So let's go ahead and exit this. We're going to start a new project and we're going to use these, which will allow TinkerCAD to run a little bit faster. I've started a new project here in TinkerCAD, blank slate. Let's go up here now to our Your Creations and we're going to find those shapes that we created in the prior tutorial. First, this one here, the solid. We'll bring that out over here. And we're going to do the same thing with the whole portion of it. There we have those. Now on each of these we need to increase the height. And the easiest way to do this is if we zoom in, we select the object. I'm going to click on this box up here. Now I want to increase this 300%. So instead of typing in a number, I can come over here in this little window and change that height to 300 and the percent sign. And bingo, just like that, it's the right height. We'll do the same thing on this one. 300%. Here we go. Now we need to do some more duplication. I'm going to come back to the whole shape over here. I'm going to click on the duplicate up here, or Control D. I'm going to click on the rotate. I'm going to make that 45 degrees. Now without deselecting that, don't ever select away. I'm going to hit Control D and one more. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Control D to duplicate. Rotate 45 degrees. Control D, Control D. All right, now that we have those, let's group these together. And again, this is going to be one of those moments where you're going to have to be patient and allow TinkerCAD to render the shape. Again, go get a cup of coffee or a bottle of water. We'll group those together. I'm going to select all of the whole shapes here. I'm going to group that together. Now I'm going to go get that bottle of water. Be right back. When they're done rendering, they'll look like this. Yeah, that took probably, for me, it was 4 minutes. All right. Let's make sure each one of these is flat on the build plane. I'm going to select it, D to drop to the work plane. Same with this one over here. All right, let's come up here. Let's change Your Creations back to our basic shapes. Let's come over here and grab this cone shape, drag it out. We'll make it yellow to make it a little bit easier to see. Now we're going to do a little bit of manipulating here to make this larger than this whole shape. We're going to do the outside portion of our twisty first using this whole shape. So let's bring this into place here. And I don't need to be exact. Now I'm going to hold Alt and Shift, and I'm going to bring out the bottom of this. Let's change our snap grid down to 0.1 here. And we want that to be a little bit bigger than our whole shape. Our whole shape here is 20. So let's call this one, well, we're at 29 there. There we go. Get to the side here. Let's click on that again and let's bring it up a little bit, make it a little bit taller. That should be good about there. Let's go ahead and select the two of those, align those together. That direction and that direction. Seems we didn't get it all there. Let's try that again. Let's make this just a wee bit smaller, right about there. Now, one thing that we want to do here is we want to lift this cone up off the work plane by 5 millimeters. So I have my snap grid at 1. I'm going to hold down the Control key and cursor up 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what this does, it allows for that hole shape to cut completely through the bottom of that cone. All right, now before we merge those two together, I want to select our cone shape here. I want to make a duplicate of it, and I'm going to shift nudge that over a bit, and we're going to be using this part to make the inner part of the twisty. First thing we want to do here, if you go back and look at the original one, we're going to round over the top of this cone. To do that, I'm going to simply bring out a whole cube here. There's our whole cube, and I'm going to use this half round, this half sphere here. I'm going to drag that out. I'm going to place it up on top, holding down Alt and Shift. I'm going to change the dimensions to 3 millimeters. I'm going to make it a hole, and I'm going to make the cube, let's make that a solid. Get to zoom in. Now on that half sphere, I want to rotate that over 180 degrees. Now we need to do a little bit of alignment here. We want to sink that half sphere into that cube. While we have the two of those selected, going to click on Align. Going to go down the middle this way, down the middle this way, and then align at the top. Make sure I have the two of those selected. Group those together, and we're going to turn it into a hole shape. All right, while we have that selected, let's rotate that 180 degrees right there. Let's align it with this cone. Click alignment. I'm going to click on the cone to make it the boss. Align that direction, that direction. Now I'm going to select just that whole box now, and I'm going to drag it up to where that little divot in the whole box intersects with our cone here. We'll zoom in, change my snap grid to 0.1, holding the Control key. I'm going to move down a little bit. Right there is pretty good. Zoom out. While that whole box is selected, I'll shift select the cone, and then I'm going to group the two of those together. Perfect. Now we have a little rounded tip at the end of that part of it. Right, the next step, we're going to bring out a whole cube here. Let's make it a little larger. Come all the way up over and above this solid spiral. I'm going to drag it down just a little bit. Now what we need to do is to make this cube here a solid and this part a hole. We're going to be making a hole inside of this, the shape of this cone. So while we have that whole box selected, let's make that a little bit larger. I want to make sure this is large enough. I'm going to make it a solid. I'm going to make the cone a hole. I'm going to shift select the whole box. We're going to do a quick alignment. Click on the box to make it the boss. Align that direction, align that direction. Now you can't see it in there, but we're going to select the two. We should get just two objects in our selection. We have the two objects. That's the box outside and the whole cone on the inside. We're going to group those, and we're going to turn that into a hole. And voila, inside you now have a negative. You have this whole box here with the cone shape on the inside. So while we have that selected, I'm going to shift select on this solid twist. We'll do a quick alignment here. This direction and this direction. All right, we're at the end of this tutorial. This was part 2. Follow for part 3. We'll continue working on this. Like, follow, and share.